Good morning, YouTube. Nothing exciting today, just running errands. As you can see, it is trash day. We don't actually have garbage pickup out at our house, so we bought these really big garbage cans, and about once a month or so I drive them up here to our recycle center and drop it off. It's free for me to dump here because it's included in our property taxes. We could pay for a garbage service, but why when we already are? Okay guys, as you can see, we are back out at the house, but we're not done with our errands. You know, the little dump station there, it's only about maybe 2.5 miles from the house. So looking 4 to 5 round trip. I've also got to run over into Hayesville and into Murphy. And I did not see the reason to drag the trailer around for another 20-25 miles to run my other errands. So I figured I'd just run back by the house, drop it off. That way I didn't have to worry about it. Well guys, one of the errands I had to run was I actually had to go pay my HOA fees. I know some of you might be surprised to find out that we actually live in a homeowners association. We do, but it's not like one of those in a fancy neighborhood where the color you can paint your house or whatnot. Pretty lax, pretty laid back, just some simple rules so that you're not, hurting the neighbors type thing. The one that comes to mind is like we're not allowed to have any swine on the property. So they don't want, the creek getting contaminated or whatnot. So that's not an issue there. Not supposed to have any unregistered vehicles, but I've got like 7. No one says anything. Keep in mind, our house is so secluded even from the neighborhood because we've got one of the largest properties, neighborhood, so to speak. I'm not phrasing that right, but yeah. And it's so wooded around us that even my next door neighbor, except for sometimes in the winter like now, they can't even see my house. And believe it or not, I was actually late on my HOA fees. They're due by the 15th or the 10th. I don't even know when they're due, to be honest. But, for each month, they're due by a small grace period past the 1st. But what Katie and I do is we pay them for the whole year. They're not exorbitant HOA fees, for both houses. Remember, we've got 2 houses on the property. It's $30 each, so $60 a month. So basically what we do is just go ahead and pay it for the year. If I'm not mistaken, it's like $720 for the whole year. So we just usually write one check and be done with it, because with us traveling, I'd always forget to mail it in monthly, and it's just easier for me that way. But like in Numbskull, I mailed it in December, but we mailed it to the wrong place, so it got returned to sender. I went to the post office the other day and picked up the mail, and that had been returned along with a letter from the treasurer of the homeowner association letting them know that I owed a $10 late fee. Oh well, it's my own fault for being such a numbskull. But anyway, that's fixed. Now we're headed to Hayesville for the next errand. Guys, so the main reason we are coming over to Hayesville today is because the excursion that I'm driving right now is due for its tag renewal. In here in North Carolina, we have to do an inspection before we're allowed to do our renewal. So there's places in Murphy as well, but I prefer this place over here. So we're going to go ahead and get the inspection done on it, and then we're going to run over to the tag office, get the tag renewed on it. That way it's done. It looks like we've got a couple cars in line, so we're just going to sit here and hold tight. Now, technically, this isn't due until February 28th, but you guys know I've got a lot on my plate right now, and I got the notice in the mail yesterday. So if I don't do this now, I'm gonna forget about it. So, you know, by February 28th, we should already be on our way to Daytona for Bike Week, and I've got a lot of prep work between now and then to get done. Lots of repairs and stuff that needs to be done on Goliath. I got a lot of setup to do in the trailer, and I haven't done any of that yet this winter. We're so focused on trying to get the Kenworth done and all the other things that I don't want to get so busy trying to get that done, and then I'll forget about this and I'll end up driving it around with expired tags. So we're going to try to avoid that. Guys, we're in the door and we're getting our inspection done. It should only take a couple of minutes. They charge about $13.50 or so to get the inspection done, and then I can take it all the way over to the tag office and register the tag. Say all the way to the tag office. See that building right there? Other side of that building is tag office. I could walk over there. Okay guys, that was the full trip from the inspection station to the tag office, unedited by the way. All right guys, and there we go. We're all good until February of 2023. And well guys, I know you have no concept of that time, but one of the things that I absolutely love about living in a small town is I just went into our local tag office to renew my tag. I was in and out in less than 3 minutes. No line whatsoever. I mean, literally, I'm not exaggerating. 3 minutes I was inside the building. Okay guys, I am now over in the town of Murphy, and I was going to record a little bit more on the way over here, but my Aunt Judy had called me from up in New York, and I spent some time on the phone with her. So, right here behind me, all this pretty marble, I'm at the courthouse. Got some business to do there. No, I didn't get in any trouble, but property taxes. I got to go make some changes to the form and pay the tax due, and that way keep straight with the county. By the way, we have a beautiful courthouse here. Another thing I like about really small towns. All right, well that's taken care of. The reason I was here is because the tangible personal property tax, that's for my trailers. So all the trailers that I have, I get what's called a permanent or multi-year tag on them. So I only have to pay for them the one time. I don't have to worry about renewals every year. So in order for them to get their tax, which is normally included in your tag renewal, like we just did with the excursion earlier, it goes to the tax office. You have to pay just the tax, not a tag renewal. Well, they sent me the form. The tax wasn't actually due, but they sent me the form, and they still had the Forest River trailer listed on there. If you guys remember, back in June, that trailer got wrecked and totaled, and the insurance company took it. So there's really no reason for me to continue to pay the tax on it. So I just had to go in there and make that adjustment and update the system. And there's actually no tax due on it yet. That was just to update the record so that they can move into next year with the right information. Once again, small town wonders. So I went into the courthouse, went through security, walked down the hall to the tax collector's office, made the form adjustments, signed the papers, handed it in, and left. I might have been in the building for maybe 5 minutes. I remember being down in the Orlando area, you would sit in some place like that for hours half the time waiting to get taken care of. Love small towns. Well guys, that's really it for what I've got to do today. At this point, I'm going to head back out to the house. I've got to tend to Katie for a little bit. And but before I go, you know, this whole small town thing reminds me of a story maybe you guys would like to hear. So let me begin the story with, in Orlando, when I opened our business there many years ago, in order to get the licensing, the permits, and all that stuff, get the zoning regulations, all that stuff right, I spent days and days filing papers, going from one building to another building in downtown Orlando. And even within those buildings, they would send me from one office to another office. In fact, like I had to go up to like the 4th floor to get a certain paper, get it filled out, get it signed, and then they would send me down to like a planning office where I had to sit there literally in line for 3 or 4 hours because there was like 100 people there trying to do the same thing I was doing. And then somebody would look at that paperwork and go, oh, well, before you do that, you've got to do this. So then you get sent to somebody else's office and you sit there for a while, and then they sign off on something. Then you go back to that last office so that they could do their thing. Okay, now take it back upstairs, and then they'll file it there. And it was just so much runaround. And no lie, probably 3 days in a row, anywhere between 5 and 8 hours dedicated to getting specific paperwork done to legally open and operate the business the way it should be done. Now, fast forward through time. We moved to North Carolina, and in 2012, so it's been 10 years now, when I went to go open the business here officially, completely different story. Now here, we never had a brick and mortar store like we did in Orlando. The property we first lived in before we bought the house we're in now, it had a barn, and I was using the barn to service motorcycles and store stuff there and so on and so forth in between the rallies. But I still wanted to set the business up to be, legal and legitimate in case, we turned it into something bigger and better. So in order to set everything up properly, I took my articles of incorporation from the state of Florida, because that's where my corporation is technically set up at, because that's where we started. And my intention was to still leave it as a Florida-based company, but operating as a foreign entity in the state of North Carolina. So I walk into the Clay County Courthouse, which is one county over where Hayesville is, and I show them my articles of incorporation, and I say I want to start my motorcycle repair business here. So the lady in the counter looked at me, looked at the papers. I mean, she literally spent like 15 seconds looking them over, handed them back. She goes, "You're good." I looked at her like, "What do you mean I'm good?" She goes, "You're good. That's all you need." I'm like, "No permit, no like business license or anything like that?" She's like, "No, you're good. You're outside city limits, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in the county, but I'm outside of the official city limits." She goes, "You're good." So I then looked at her and said, "Are you sure? There should be some kind of a hurdle or something I've got to jump over right about here." And she just looked at me again and said, "No, you're good." She goes, "How far out of the city limits are you?" I said, "About 3 miles." She goes, "Oh, okay, because if you were within 1.5 miles of the city limits, we'd have to charge you a permit fee to put up a sign if it was bigger than so many feet." She goes, "But because you're more than that, you can put up a freaking billboard for all we care. You're good." So yeah, guys, there's a certain simplicity that comes with small town life. Yeah, there's a few drawbacks too, but all in all, the benefits far outweigh the negatives. So, I don't regret us moving out of the big city. And I say big city Orlando. It's not like it's New York or anything, but it's big city enough compared to this. All right, guys, I don't think I've got anything else for you today. This isn't even something I would have normally filmed, but I don't have a lot of content right now, and I know that there's a certain number of you out there that even enjoy this, as boring as I think it may seem. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, hit the like button, share with your friends and family, and until the next time we see you.